Welcome to Team Wild's Air Power, the most exciting and entertaining airgun show on the planet. This week we're back in Texas, on the Guest Ranch just outside Boerne. It's a much slower afternoon than anticipated, and there doesn't seem to be much game moving around in the hot afternoon sun.
So we're back in my favourite blind. It's early afternoon, probably about 3 o'clock now. The sun's still pretty high in the sky, but the shadows are lengthening, and we're waiting for our buck. Now, we've given this blind a bit of rest. We know that it brings a lot of game in. We shot a Barbados sheep off here before, so we've got a 100% success record. Now what we need to do is wait, be nice and patient, be calm. The wind's in our favour. It's coming slightly from the right hand side, but broadly it's in our face. The only problem we might have is that anything approaching from behind us is going to catch our scent, but it's not too heavy, and the animals here, because it's a working farm, they're reasonably used to human scent. I think it's about patience and being still.
I glass the tree lines and wait patiently, but nothing comes our way. Then we spot some movement.
So we've seen a couple now of decent bucks over in that far tree line, but they don't seem to be coming to the blind. They seem to be on the other side. So what we're going to do now is get out, try and put a stalk on, see if we can get close enough to take a shot. If we don't, at least it's more fun than sitting here in the blind waiting for them to come to us. Let's rock.
The problem we have is the black buck aren't alone.
So you can see that's about 220 yards in front of us, and they're reasonably calm. They're just feeding away. There's a half decent sized young buck in there, but obviously we're not after fallow today, but there's a pretty healthy size in the herd. Our problem is the wind is perfect for us to make a stalk into them, but actually we want to leave the fallow right just there, because if the fallow's there, the black buck might come back our way. So there's a large open areas in front of us. I'm not going to move into that. I think what we're going to do now is going to back up, use the tree cover, try and get around the other side, leave these guys where they are, and hopefully it'll happen across a buck. If not, we'll head back to the blind.
With this being a working farm, there's several farm buildings and fences that provide cover. And as the black buck make their way around the farm, we can follow and watch with relative ease. However, getting in close is a little more tricky. But before we know it, the day is drawing to a close and the light fades on us. On day 2, we set up in a different position under a tree, with just a little cover in front of us. The sun hasn't long risen when some beautiful fallow appear, grazing not far ahead of us. It's blindly obvious that we aren't very well hidden here, and the deer look straight at us. This gnarly buck is happily grazing when another deer's grunts spook him, and he's off.
So we've had a good morning. We've seen plenty of deer, a couple of fallow bucks, one young fallow buck and one really old one. And there was a mature buck just coming from our left hand side, but the wind flicked around. As you can see, he was sat pretty much out in the open here. So you've got to be really, really still. And if they catch a whiff of you, No, he was less than 10 yards away, really, really close. I could see the whites of his eyes. But once again, there's plenty of game here, so all we need to do is be patient. Now we've had a look this morning, we're going to go and have a walk around the rest of the estate, see if we can pick up another buck somewhere else. But so far, this has been pretty good.
It isn't long before we spot a beautiful black buck grazing out in the middle of the fields. There's a little cover in between him and us, but not enough.
We managed to get about 70 yards away. Ideally for a target that size we need to be a little bit closer. Now the road groups pretty well, but it's how I can shoot off sticks from behind trees. So ideally we need to be about 45-50 yards to be sure of a good shot. But anyway, we're getting closer. So we've been tracking our buck into the bush, and as you can see, he's made for safety behind a herd of fallow. Now, we've been told we're not allowed to shoot fallow here, which is fine, but we also don't want to disturb them while those fallow are lying up there in the shade. They're not getting involved in my stalking elsewhere. Obviously this is a pretty big estate, so we don't want much game moving around if we can avoid it. They look pretty comfortable there, about 200 yards away. They know we're here. So we're going to head back into cover, see if we can come around the other side, pick up our buck, maybe a little bit further downwind of those guys there. Sometimes the problem isn't the buck that you're hunting, it's the bucks that are stood there waiting. So, we kind of found out this morning that my shiny white skin and stalking don't go too well together. Now, we've got pretty close to the game here, but the problem is, in such close proximity, you need to be really still. The sunlight shining off my white skin and also off my rifle tends to make the animals a bit skittish. So what we've done today is we've cut down a load of cedar and we've made a natural hide. So we've parked here next to a thoroughfare that's used by the axis and blackbuck all the time. So we're going to wait here. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, see if anything happens across. It's getting a little bit cooler, so now is the time that the game tends to move around. So fingers crossed, we have a pretty good chance.
However, despite our cleverly designed natural blind, nothing seems to be coming our way. So we head across the farm to another blind right in front of a route regularly used by the blackbuck. After a short while of patient waiting, there's traffic on the highway. A beautiful blackbuck male strolls casually across the field ahead of us, and just before he gets out of sight, he stops. I take my time as to not spook him or his 2 companions. I wait for him to walk a few steps. Now he's in perfect position. Just as I commit to the shot, he steps forward. I instinctively lead by a few inches to allow the bullet time to reach its target. He takes flight but won't have gone far.
So he ranged it earlier on, but it's about 60 yards bang on where he was, exactly where I wanted to shoot him. It's a good sized buck, and I'm pretty sure it was a hard shot. He picked his front legs up, kicked his back legs out before skipping off into the undergrowth, and I'm 99.99% sure if you just give him a couple of seconds he's going to be there on the ground. So the other one skipped off. That's the great thing about the Rogue. It isn't loud, it's not an explosion. So it would have heard the shot, it would have felt the impact, but it wouldn't have run too far. It's not like being hit by a bullet. Anyway, just give it a few minutes and we'll walk out and go and find him.
Yes, he's down and he's gone. And what a beautiful animal. Absolutely stunning. Now this here is my first ever black buck, and I took it with this phenomenal Benjamin Rogue 357 big bore air gun centre point, 4-16 by 56 scope, and of course the ever-present Night Sight NS200 unit, which, as you've noticed, I don't just use for night vision, I use it for practically everything. So you've caught it on video, and as we say, what a magnificent animal. Now let's have a quick look. As you can see from its mouth, that's a double lung shot, nice and frothy red blood. Let's roll him over. Now, the entry we're in there, a little bit higher and further back than I'd have liked. Probably, I don't know, actually it's on line, maybe a little bit high. But as you can see from the blood there, it's very, very frothy. There's an exit wound on the other side, so it's cleared straight through. He's run, as I told you, skipped, picked up his front legs, so it wasn't a heart shot, unfortunately, it was a double lung shot, but perfect, went down really, really quickly. A magnificent animal, an incredible hunt. Now, we've stalked up pretty close on these guys before. We've been within 80, then 75, and then 70 yards, but these black buck, they're pretty skittish, more skittish than quite a lot of the animals I've hunted here. But we were patient, we bided our time, we moved positions, we looked at where their movements were, and picked a really, really good spot. We had literally a small window of opportunity, and for once in my life I managed to pick the right place. But once again, a phenomenal buck, really, really happy, great performance by my equipment, and I hear these taste really good. We'll find out tonight.
Another successful hunt with the Benjamin Rogue 357 big bore air rifle and the Night Sight NS200. To find out more about the Benjamin Rogue big bore hunting airgun, visit crosman.com. And for more information on the Night Sight NS200, visit nightsight.co.uk. Subscribe to Team Wild TV for the best hunting, airgun, gear and bow hunting videos on YouTube.